Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Center for Conscious Kids. Welcome to the Conscious Living podcast series here live at the Specially Produce Network. I'm here with myself and you, which is perfect. This podcast today, we're going to talk about accessing your infinite knowledge. And really, inside accessing infinite knowledge is how do we do that? We do that through accessing our inner guidance. And for many people, especially as we grow a little bit older and we get very busy with our jobs, our work, our career, our experiences, our kids, our families, we kind of lose touch sometimes. We get very busy throughout the day and we don't recognize that we have intuition. We have an inner guidance navigation system. Some people nowadays in 2018 call it our inner technologies. And quite frankly, they really are technologies. They're thoughts, they're infinite knowledge that we can access to really create the world we choose to create, the world we want to create, the world where we want to be the truth of ourselves and the truth to other people and experience truth in our lives from our experiences. And so what does all this really mean? How do you access your intuition or your inner guidance? And it can be complicated sometimes to navigate through that because there are many aspects that we go through to access this. And we don't recognize that some things that we go through get in the way, and some things create flow and ease. So when we do this, how do we create flow and ease? Because we know when flow and ease happens and it just, bam, it comes right in, it comes right into your mind, it comes right into your heart, into your body, into your awareness, you know it's true. And how do you know that you know that you know that you're experiencing truth, a guidance in such a way that you can do what you want to do what you need to do what you want to do in relation to other people and creating a greater world for you and others? So let's start with this. What I wanted to do today was to support people in connecting to their own inner guidance, even in the moment. So sometimes we take journeys, sometimes we meditate, sometimes we go into altered states of our mind to access things we may not have known when we're just busy thinking, right? So let's take a moment and set an intention, my intention for you, and everyone that's listening to this podcast, either live or recorded, that they can access their infinite knowledge. They can access their inner guidance. And I just want you to breathe in that by the end of this podcast, in some way, big or small, little bit, none at all, or all the way, that you are able to access your inner guidance. Right? Now just breathe that in. And now let go of the idea. I let go of the idea or the attachment to the outcome of how you achieve that. And a lot of times when we let go of that attachment to the outcome of how we're going to make that happen, I can tell you the energy opens and your information flows. When we demand or expect or insist that we're going to do it, I'm going to connect to my inner guidance right now, right here on this podcast. I'm going to do it for real. I'm going to experience all truth, all infinite knowledge. What happens is that demand combined with our beliefs and understandings about how the world works and or doesn't work interferes with our ability to actually receive what's truly coming in. Does that make sense for everybody? Sometimes, huh? So what we want to do is let go of that attachment. Say, however it comes in, it's perfect for me in this moment, right? It is. That's why you're here. Okay, so let's talk for just a minute about how do we access that? Well, one situation is why would you want your inner guidance? What guides you to say, I don't know what's going on? Like I have to say, last night I had a really funny dream. And I didn't know what it was about. And I knew I was dreaming, so I woke up and I said, what's that dream about? What do I need to know or understand in the moment to facilitate the understanding of that dream because I've never had it before. And I think, quite honestly, in a lot of ways, it was talking about creating. When I accessed my higher self, my inner guidance, that part of me shared with me to create and co create with the world and the people around me. I had a funny dream about a volcano going off in the middle of an airport on a mesa. And the plane went away, so we had to get off the mountain, and so we were doing that, and it was fascinating because what I think the lava represented was, as it was blowing and spewing and lava was flowing, it was like sometimes we need to get out of the way of nature. Sometimes we need to quit trying to manipulate it, maybe, and make it better for us, and instead just move away, move aside, take a look, honor it, respect it, live with it, live in harmony with it. And how do we live in harmony with it? Probably not creating an airport on the top of a volcano would probably be a good choice right there. Maybe another choice would be not creating houses at the foothills so that we actually move away and allow nature to grow and expand with us. Maybe that's one way. Right? But what we're doing is we're working with truth. And what does truth mean to us? Many times truth can be, as what I've recognized, as a perspective. What might be my truth, it might not be your truth. And what's your truth might not be their truth. So, but when we all get together and we start to recognize each and honor each other's perspectives, then a greater truth comes forward, right? And I think that's what we would benefit with each other to gather this idea of understanding different perspectives. And so even sometimes when we access our inner guidance, that's maybe a little bigger than us, a little more expanded than what we are right here in our bodies experiencing day-to-day life. What if that perspective is just a little bit bigger, a little bit broader, a little bit more than what we do down here in our bodies, in our everyday lives? And when we take a moment to, I like to, not while you're driving, but I like to close my eyes and take a deep breath and say, I open to this more expanded awareness, my inner guidance, my inner navigation system. So I'll take an easy example through that. Let's say you're in the kitchen and you're kind of hungry and you want to go to eat something, and there's cookies that are there in a package, or you made them and they're in a container. And there's also an apple in the refrigerator. And most people would say that probably the apple is more nutritious than the cookie. However, maybe you made the cookie out of almond flour and coconut oil and some carob chips, right? So maybe in some ways, and the apple doesn't really work with your body for some reason. So in that case, the cookie actually might be more nutritious than the apple. But just taking in mind is, which one do I choose? And I'm having a hard time deciding. Well, this is just an easy example, but you could access your inner guidance. You could even access the guidance inside your physical body and tune in and ask and say, which one would be more healthier for me in the moment? And maybe your body would say, I need more vitamin C. And maybe in the cookie, there's not so much vitamin C. So your body says, I need the apple. Or let's say your body and your brain needs more medium chain triglycerides, MCT oils, or fats, right? Maybe you need some more fats. So maybe eating the cookie with the coconut oil is actually healthier than having the apple in the moment. So do you see how accessing those different informations inside your body or globally more expandedly would actually give you more information than maybe your brain or your tongue would know how to answer that question? So that's helping us gain different perspectives, broader perspectives. It helps open our mind, our body, and our experiences to other things that we didn't know were available. It teaches us and allows us to know how to relate to other people. We get experiences to really understand other people's perspectives. And when we do that, we end up relating with each other more deeply, more effectively, and certainly more compassionately. We start to really understand what's motivating their behavior, what's creating their behavior. Maybe they're stuck in some ways, all those kinds of things that delay us having the types of relationships we'd like to have. So that's what I use or utilize my inner guidance for a lot of times. And it'd be really neat if you're live here on Facebook, you're certainly welcome to add in comments about how you access your inner guidance. So let's just go through that again really quickly about how we can do that. And remember, you can apply, it doesn't have to be a really big, serious issue like I'm going through this life threatening or life altering problem and I need my inner guidance to help me. It can be used for that, but it also can be used in an everyday experience like the apple and the cookie. Like which way do I turn when I'm kind of lost on the road, right or left? And maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. Can work for lots of different reasons. So let's look at some of those reasons on why when we access our infinite knowledge or our inner guidance, why sometimes we get funny answers, right? Or screwy answers, or sometimes even wrong answers. So let's start with the idea of setting an intention. When we set an intention, what happens is we are intending a desire, a want, or a need usually. And when we set that, we have an expectation that that goal will be achieved. But what if you work inside the context in your life that the world is here and it conspires to support you? When the world conspires to support you, it's called pronoia. It's the opposite of paranoia, which means the world is conspiring against me, right? So instead, when we embody the idea that the world is for me and everyone and everything is here to support me, help me, and make things work for not only myself, but for everyone else, we develop this idea called service to us. I give service to me, I give service to you, and together, collectively, we make even something greater, this idea of service to us. We all benefit. And a lot of times when we set a goal or intention, and we want to benefit everyone involved, sometimes we don't get our needs met immediately because the other person we're working with needs to put some things into action to make it all work and come together. So that's why I see a lot of times that sometimes our goals don't get immediately met. And patience is definitely a virtue and definitely helpful. But what if the patience is because you have an intention also of being support to the other person you're working with? And sometimes that other person may take longer, or you may take longer. Ding. The phone dings. That's funny. Maybe that was a call from heaven. Just saying. And so what is amazing is when we set that intention and we want a goal and we don't achieve the goal, how about we pursue the idea or the perspective that we didn't achieve that goal because there were other things in mind. There were other things that the universe was supporting other than just us. I mean, us individually, and then us collectively. So take a look at, my goal didn't get done. I wonder why I failed or my inner guidance failed or it duped me or it told me a lie or whatever. Instead of thinking of it like that, what if we were able to reframe that thinking and say, I wonder why the goal didn't come? And quite honestly, is it because I involved my intention with other people? Like this intention that I set this morning for this podcast is to say, I intend for everyone in one way or another to connect to their inner guidance. And I bet some people will do it really, really deeply and amazingly and go, wow, I didn't know I could connect this way. And other people might be, I don't feel anything. And other people might be, oh, I got a little hint of something, right? It all varies. And what if that's okay? What if that's beautiful? And however you manifested that is perfect. It really is, because it's a growth process. I don't think it happens just bam. We just twinkle our nose or do our fingers and instantaneously we manifest. Sometimes we do, and that's pretty miraculous to see and experience. But what if it doesn't always have to be that way because we're working with and amongst other people? And inside that, working with other people is really beautiful. And it's an unfolding rather than ding, instantaneous. An instantaneous manifestation like that, ding. Okay. And so what I'd like to share with everyone is when you close your eyes, or if you're driving, looking straight forward and paying attention while you're driving, but while you're doing this, breathe in and say, I choose to open the energy in my body. I choose to release and clear any blockages that I may be having, either conscious that I know about or unconscious, those ones I don't know about. And I choose to clear it so I can clear and pave the way for that inner guidance to come in to my experience so I can feel it, see it, hear it, know it, sense it. Right? We have all different multisensory ways to bring in information of higher guidance or inner guidance. And so just take a moment and say, what way would I like to hear or experience or see or feel my inner guidance? How would I like to do it? Did you know that you can create a relationship with your inner guidance? The more that you relate to this, the more that you talk to this, the more that you feel it and experience it and share, the more it grows. It's like any other relationship. It's an interesting phenomenon. And I think many people would say it's not a phenomenon, it's just the way it is, but it is true. It develops. So I ask you to notice and understand that you can do this any minute of any day, all day long, anytime. And this access is not something necessarily for you to depend on. This is creating an interdependence. This is creating an idea that I have more access to information and understanding than I thought I did. Yeah. Even when reading a book, you can ask your inner guidance, where in the book would you like me to know something that I'm working on right now, right? As an example. I do it all the time. Okay. And so, what we want to do is when we step into that experience, we clear a lot of things that we would consider resistances or blockages. Say, open to the truth of what is my perspective or the perspective of others so that I can relate better to them and myself. And then make a goal, make an intention. I choose to experience this sooner or later, whenever it is, whenever it manifests as perfect, knowing that the universe is conspiring to support me and everyone else involved. Ding. That's pretty funny. And so then, what do we do after that? We let go of our intention. We let go of it. And the reason why we let go of it is not because we don't care, but it's because maybe how we believe it's going to manifest and come through isn't necessarily the way the other person wanted it, really the way you wanted it, and maybe the way the universe was conspiring to give you something even greater than you ever knew could happen. And so that's why we kind of let go of the intention. We still keep the goal in mind, and we do the right steps and the right actions to go forward. But sometimes the right actions are not at all what we experience. Right? Not at all. And when we not at all, then and we're having it and we're having this experience that we're like, I set a goal and it was supposed to be XYZ. And instead, everything unfolding in front of me is A, B, and C. And maybe I picked XYZ because I wanted the goal to be over, right? I wanted it to be done. And instead, the universe says, I'm sorry, you're just beginning this goal. So you got to do A, B, and C first. And that's okay. So I can recognize it, bring it in, and go, oh, look at that. I'm going to do A, B, and C today. That's awesome. What gifts, what opportunities, what amazing opportunities do I have in front of me through these experiences? And then that helps us let go of the idea of those expectations, demands, and judgments about what is or isn't happening and the way we'd like it to go. Now just breathe that in, let go of that intention or goal. And now, in the context of connecting to your inner guidance, what do you feel? Notice what you feel. Notice what you experience. Ding. I experienced dinging. Look at that. So that's telling me I'm going to turn on my auditory and turn on my hearing a little bit more, right? And because I seem to turn on my seeing and I see a lot of things, but I haven't focused on hearing. So the universe is telling me it's time to start hearing. And what does the universe share with you? What does your inner guidance share with you? How could you have a sensory input, an understanding of how to gain information, infinite knowledge, and understanding about how to guide your day, how to seek truth inside you and everyone else around you to support the world growing into the world we really want to see and feel and experience ourselves and with others. There you go. That's great, right? Lots of different ways of getting information. Now, some people, I wanted to bring this up a little bit. Some people get bits and pieces of information. I got to tell you, I do too. I never get it. I hardly ever get it in a whole sentence. Sometimes I do, maybe even sometimes a paragraph. I think it's that still developing that relationship with our inner guidance. But sometimes we get things in metaphors. So in symbols or icons or a funny license plate right in front of us. And you're like, really? Where did that license plate come from? Like, we might be afraid to go do something. And then we sit in front of a car at a stoplight and their license plate says, go for it. Right. And you're like, really? Go for it? That's the universe lining up that car for you to see, go for it. What you're wanting to do is good. It's just maybe have a little risk in it. But what if you go for it? And if you make a mistake along the way, what if that provides an opportunity for learning more than an opportunity, there you go, of failure, right? So it's all how we look at it. It's all about perspectives. So how do we reframe our perspectives each and every day so that we deepen our sense of receiving information from our inner guidance, right? It depends on what we're doing, but notice that throughout your day. Bring that in and say, I choose to notice some of the obstacles that I'm experiencing so that I can actually move through them. Like a train going by, right? That might be an obstacle if you're in the car. So we have to stop, notice, let the train go by, and then continue on our way. So, how will you continue on your way today by accessing your infinite knowledge through your intuition, inner guidance, higher self, enlightened self? There's so many words we use to access this part of ourselves. The kids tell me all the time, like as matter of factly, it's just my inside self. And I go, I know it is. It is our inside self. It's as simple as that. Many times it doesn't have to be a grand ritual or a grand process to access this inside ourselves. So I ask of you to practice today, checking in, seeing what your internal guidance says to you about different aspects, things that you care about for yourself, things that you care about and want to do with others, and creating life circumstances that support you and develop you and bring out that truth and that amazingness of you all day today. I want to thank you all for joining me. It was a pleasure to share this idea, and I invite you to practice this all the time. Thank you for joining us today, and have a wonderful time. Aloha.